Hey, Shelby McDaniel here. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to deep dive into the top 4 mistakes to avoid when healing your relationship with food. Now, healing your relationship with food, all that means is we're addressing and resolving any negative or unhealthy behaviors or emotions or attitudes associated with food and eating. So when someone has a quote unhealthy relationship with food, it can really show up in different ways for each person. For some, it might be more restrictive eating. For others, it might be binge eating or excessive eating patterns. It might be emotional eating. And we got all that mental stuff, right? We've got the guilt and the shame around food, maybe body image issues, or just an overall negative mindset around food. Maybe it's all of it, all of the above for you, right? And if it is, like, you're in the right place. So in this video, we're going to be discussing the 4 most common mistakes that you want to avoid when you're embarking on this journey to healing your relationship with food. All right. So one of the first mistakes, number 1, to avoid is continuing to weigh yourself throughout this healing process. Look, many of us have all been conditioned to associate our self-worth and our progress solely with the number on the scale. All right, but you know that this can be totally detrimental to your mental and emotional well-being. It's part of the old mindset that you were working so hard to get away from. So it's kind of like this. All right, if you were trying to get sober from abusing alcohol, keeping the scale in your life is sort of like you still going to bars and ordering a glass of water. Like, do you think that's going to be a good environment for you? Do you think that's going to trigger you and want to pull you back into those thinking patterns and those urges and those behaviors that you were trying to move away from, right? Absolutely. So it's very similar in trying to keep the scale in your life. Get rid of the scale for a while. All right, instead, focus on how you feel, both physically, emotionally, right, mentally. Pay attention instead to energy levels, your mood, your overall health. These are way better indicators of progress and your well-being than a stupid number on the scale, all right? And like PS, your weight does not define you, and it certainly doesn't reflect your value as a person, okay? All right, the second mistake to avoid is trying to achieve your goal on your convenient timeline. My type A personalities, this is for you, all right? So it's so common to feel impatient during this healing process, but rushing it is only gonna lead you to frustration and disappointment, all right? Because remember, healing your relationship with food, it's not a race, it's a journey, and I'm sure you hate me for saying that word, but you know, it's just what it is. All right, we are all conditioned to want and see instant results with fast and 30-day fixes and all these other hardcore, diet programs that we've done, that when we don't see those instant results and changes in behavior or weight that we want, we feel, oh, this isn't working, and then we give up on it too soon. So again, for all of my all or nothing mindsets out there, like, this is for you. So your journey is your journey, and where you're at is perfect. Write her down. All right, you have to allow yourself time to explore and grow, all right, and learn. That's it. So you can't compare yourself, all right? You can't compare your timeline with anybody else's or assume that, well, I should be at this amount of improvement with this by this time. Like, based on what? That's your assumption alone. You've never done this before, all right? So embrace the process and be patient with yourself. And if you're like, Shelby, I don't want to give it time, and guess what? You're not going to get where you want to go. You're not. So sustainable changes, they take some patience, right? And the path to a healthy relationship with food it's just not linear, all right? It's going to have some ups and downs along the way. And everyone thinks, success is a straight linear line, but success is really kind of like an EKG. So that's really what it is. But even though you might have some highs and you've got some lows, like, you're always still moving forward. The trajectory is that you're still moving forward because there's lessons in all of it. There's lessons at every experience along the way. So if you just give yourself permission to learn and grow at your own pace, you'll experience all of that, all right? I promise it's not going to take forever to get where you want to go, especially if you team up with someone like myself who is an expert at leading people from diet bottom to diet freedom easier and faster than on your own. So a third mistake to avoid is setting unrealistic expectations, all right? It's easy to, again, fall into the trap of striving for perfectionism in your relationship with food, but I'm sure you know that's counterproductive, right? And that's only gonna lead to feelings of failure and self-criticism. So instead, we've gotta set some realistic and achievable goals, right? And not only set those achievable goals, but we've gotta celebrate every small step forward, all right? And remember that progress is progress, no matter how small. no matter how small it is. So again, for my all or nothing minds out there, I'm speaking to you. So for example, if you have a few meals where maybe you are a little bit more present and you are enjoying a little bit more, you want to celebrate that instead of getting pissed off at yourself that, well, I didn't do it all my meals yet, right? I should be able to do that all my meals yet. All right, relearning how to see and think and do food differently. It's kind of like learning how to swim. All right, I'm going to read the book on swimming and I think, oh, well, that makes sense. And I can just do that. And I can just do that. Just jump in the pool, right? But then you actually jump in the pool for the first time and you've never swam before. And you're like, surprise, you're not Michael Phelps, right? So there's an intellectual piece to your learning, which is super important. And then there's the practice piece. And that's, again, just the reality. So set realistic expectations that, you're just not going to be a master at everything right out of the gate. Okay, and again, that doesn't mean you're not on the right path. It doesn't mean that it's not working. Don't psych yourself out here like so many do. Stay the path. Be kind and compassionate with yourself. Embrace the journey of this growth process. Again, progress, not perfection. Celebrate all wins and lessons along the way, big and small. And lastly, the last mistake that you want to avoid is continuing to track your food throughout this process. The food tracking apps and the calorie counting can, as we all know, can become an obsession, leads to an unhealthy relationship with food, which is why you're here in the first place. So constantly monitoring and restricting your food intake, it's only going to continue to increase your anxiety and disconnect from your body. But for many people, tracking their food is like this sense of safety and familiarity, which makes perfect sense, right? Because otherwise, how do I know how much to eat? So they feel a bit naked without that, right? That's a big threat. And look, I'm not against using a food tracking tool to help with education and some other awareness pieces, but for people starting on this journey to healing their relationship with food, tracking your food, it really only interrupts your ability to practice tuning in, to practice that intuitive eating decisions around your food choices, which is so necessary to stop being so dependent on all this tracking your food or points all of the time. So take my advice, burn your boats, also with the food logging for now, and begin to focus on more of that intuitive eating, which we could spend a couple of hours just on that subject alone. But it just means listen to your body signals a little bit better. Try to just give yourself the opportunity to listen. Eat to feel good versus be good all the time, no matter what you choose to eat right now. It also means try to be a little bit more mindful, enjoy what you eat, right? Slow down, enjoy a variety of nutritious foods, all right? So branch out a little bit. Start listening to that gut instinct of yours of what you might need for that perfect balance for you, whatever that means for you, and just allow your body to begin to try to guide you towards what you need. I'm telling you, you might be pleasantly surprised, many are, at the insights and the connections that they make once they simply burn the boats with the logging and they give themselves permission to just tune in. It's like, whew, who knew that was there? All right. So just embrace that freedom of being able to let go of that rigid tracking and just allow yourself to truly try to enjoy that food again. Okay. So there you have it. We discussed the 4 common mistakes to avoid when healing your relationship with food. And again, I can't reiterate enough, healing takes time. Again, it's a personal journey for each individual, but again, it's not going to take forever. So just focus on taking care of yourself the best way that you know how at this point. Be patient, be compassionate, and again, focus on the progress, not perfection. And if you find yourself struggling along the way, don't hesitate to reach out. This is what I do. This is what my team and I do. We use a step-by-step framework along with invaluable support and guidance to help you transform your relationship with food. That's why hiring coaches are so valuable, right? Like we see things that you can't. We know exactly where you're at and what action steps that you need to take every step of the way. So thank you for joining me today. I hope this video has provided you with some helpful insights and guidance. And if you enjoyed this content, please don't forget to subscribe to this channel, like this video, share it with those that you feel who might be in need. And again, I've always loved to hear from you. Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. I'll see you next time.